Hello, my name is ManuS and welcome to another MTGCardmarket modern video series. Alright, so after we took the first brew with Renegade Relia to battle last time, which didn't go so well, I haven't fully given up on the idea yet, but I put it aside for now. I want to see how that upgrade on that old Brodzek Boros Landfall deck will do, and if it has merit over something like Burn, for example, because it kind of is a bit similar in the way it plays out to Burn. It's a bit more creature heavy, and the creatures hit harder, which can be an upside and a downside, and something that I want to try out. Alright, so basically from the article, which you can check out above or below, there will be a link. I simply basically changed the 3 Paths to Exile that I had in the main deck to 3 Seal of Fire for to some extent, because it has nice synergy with Renegade Relia, enabling Revolt and also allowing Renegade Relia to basically shock something if you want to, because you can just return a Seal of Fire and kill something with it, turning it into like a mini Flame Tonkabu, which is nice in certain matchups. And the other reason to add Seal of Fire outside of this is simply the fact that having another cheap interaction spell is pretty good in a lot of matchups, like Affinity, Infect, Burn, random stuff like Elves, and all the other mana dog decks basically. Even decks like the newer red-green land destruction deck with Madcap Experiments that runs Arbor Elves. All the company decks. There's plenty of decks that have a lot of cheap creatures that we don't want them to have around if we can avoid it, since it usually slows them down to kill if we kill that stuff. And buying us time is great. And since it can also go to the face, even though not that efficiently, it's still fine in other matchups. And the synergy with Relia pushes it further. Someone brought it up, I think, in the discussion about the article, why I'm not running it. And initially I thought I just can't fit it. But I realized that a deck like this probably doesn't want Paths to Exile main deck. While it's a bit better here, because we have the landfall synergy, so at worst we can like pass a Goblin Guide to give +2/+2 to our Staplings and our Geopede, resulting in 2 extra damage. But yeah, all in all, it is something that is limited in the sense that it can't deal damage to the opponent necessarily. And yeah, decks like this only need pass-like effects in some matchups, so it's probably better in the sideboard, especially because we have the Sector Shrine Expedition Boros Charm combo to punch through bigger blockers and still win, and we have Zeroing Plays to team up with one of the cheaper burn spells to even finish off a Tarmogoyf without really 2-for-1ing us, since if the Zeroing Plays deals 3 damage to them, that's almost as good as 1-for-1ing the Tarmogoyf. So yeah, the rest basically is the same. I think the mana base is still the same, not sure currently, but I think I didn't really change anything here. 14 fetch lands, 4 duels. I think I probably cut 1 Sacred Foundry for a second mountain to take a little less damage from my fetch lands compared to the initial deck list, since 4 duels should be enough, and the second mountain is something you potentially want for Searing Plays and sideboard Eidolon. So having more ways to not take unnecessary damage in matchups like Burn or Affinity, where racing matters, is nice, since the mana base is already very stable. The deck is mostly red, just plays a bit of white and a splash of green. Alright, so I basically reworked the sideboard, since the initial sideboard was just a rough sketch, and I built something a little more thought through after playing a couple of games with the deck. So basically we have 4 Paths to Exile against all the decks that have bigger stuff that we want to deal with or simply need more removal. Affinity, Infect, black-green based mid-range decks. You want a couple against Tron for the Wormcoil engines potentially. And yeah, it's just a card that comes in a bunch of matchups, but not in every matchup. So I just like the more streamlined, flexible main deck without pass for now. Might change my mind again down the line, but currently I think that's a better approach. Then we have 2 Forkbolt to bring in against all the small stuff decks like Infect, Affinity, Elves, various collected company decks. Might even be worth bringing it in against Abzan because of the Lingering Souls, being able to clear their turn 3 that they spend 3 mana on with 1 mana of Forkbolt is a pretty nice tempo swing. And it can replace some of the Seal of Fire in that matchup, for example. Then I have for Eidolon, because I think that's probably the best card against various combo decks. While it doesn't fully fit with the main deck game plan, and the deck already has a bunch of 2s, it should be a really nice sideboard card for matchups where the effect really shines, and not as good of a main deck fit in this deck as in some others. For Destructive Revelry, especially against Affinity, you'll also probably want to bring in some against Infect for the Nexus and Spellskite. And it also comes in against various random decks. It's great against Lantern Control, Bogles, and basically everything that has a bunch of good targets you want to bring it in. You can bring it in a bit more liberally, due to the fact that it also deals 2 damage, so as long as you can cast it, you'll always get at least your 2 damage for 1 card, making it about as good as a Seal of Fire. And once you start hitting like high impact cards is where the real value's at. And I just want to try like 1 Deflecting Palm, since that's a really nice effect to have in this type of deck and can sometimes blow opponents out real nice. It's nice against Wormcoil Engine, Primeval Titan, all sorts of stuff. It's solid against actual burn to deflect one of their bigger burn spells, and so on and so forth. Alright, that's the deck for now. I'll be jumping into a league and take it to battle to see how we are doing this time. Stay tuned. See you in a moment.